Coming up next on our main stage in a couple of seconds. Maybe we should let people in and out first. Well, coming up in just a few seconds is youths. Youth are the most powerful catalyst for positive change when it comes to addressing bullying and cyberbullying. With me now, welcome on stage the Secretary General of Friends, Maja Frankel. Welcome, Maja. So, Maja, to set the stage for this very important section, what would you like to say to set the stage for Riddhi and Vasu Oswal?
Well, I would actually like to focus on two similar stories. So, Sara Damber, who founded Friends 25 years ago, was bullied at school. But suddenly, one day, a boy in her class decided to say hey or hi to her. He saw her, and that little small word changed everything for her. It broke a spiral of bullying and gave Sarah the strength to tour schools, to talk about her experiences, and to inspire other young people in how they could use their power to say hello. And that's still Friends' main word, hey, still a word that reminds us about the power of all of us here in the room. So since that, Friends has grown into the largest organization in Sweden working to fight bullying. And what struck me is that it's a similar story to what Riddhi and Vasundhara Oswal experienced. 2 decades later, how much it means that someone cares for and defends the one who is victimized. It's, of course, always adults' responsibility to stop bullying. We all know that in this room. But young people can teach us how and what we can do and what we need to focus on in order to do so. So, to stop bullying, we need young people's ideas, voices, and perspectives to reach a world where no child is exposed to bullying. So, I would really like to thank you, Riddhi and Vasundhara Oswal, for being here in person today. You are the founders of StoptheB, and you are so much role models for all of us in this room. So welcome on the stage.
Ooh, it's loud. Okay. All right. So, hi everyone. My name is Vasundhara and this is Riddhi. And together we founded StoptheB. So firstly, I just want to say that we're both extremely honored and very nervous to be here amongst all of you, highly qualified doctors, academics, practitioners, and scientists that have spent their life contributing to this cause and the study that's quite sadly overlooked most of the time. But definitely not by anyone here, though, so in that aspect, we talk amongst friends. I just want to say a special thank you to the organizing committee as well. Thank you very much, Frida and Magnus, for putting this wonderful event together. And if any time you want any of the videos that we show in our presentation, feel free to reach out to myself or Riddhi directly, or go to our Instagram page, StoptheB.
So we founded StoptheB about 1 year ago after my own experience with bullying. As a not-for-profit platform for young people, by young people, to help spread awareness on bullying and to help the youth feel more at ease and comfortable with sharing their bullying experiences. Since being bullied, more like talking about being bullied is widely looked upon as taboo amongst the youth, and we hope and aim to break this stigma. We pride ourselves in sharing all sorts of bullying experiences on our page, so I would love to share my story with you all today. Rumors, gossip, and judgment. That was the epitome of my life for a while. It's hard sometimes for me to fathom that I could lose everything I'd ever known or loved in a matter of weeks. I don't know where to start. My story is so complex that I feel like if I was ever to try and explain it properly, it would probably take me a matter of months. A lot of people have tried to help me say my story, but the more I repeat it, the more I feel like no one is listening, because still no action has been taken against these bullies. Which is why some people may think I've become numb to the story. But today, I want to try my best to explain to you all my story. School should be the place of growth and exploration for kids. But sadly, school was always the place I dreaded going. Not because of the work, I personally love the academic side of school, but because of the social side of school. I was kicked out of my old boarding school of 6 years because I stood up against the harassment I faced. I hate saying this phrase. It makes it seem as though what happened was really simple. In a nutshell, that is what happened. But there's so much more to it. So, to put it short, I was being bullied. I had reported these incidences to my school, but they didn't want to deal with it. I told them that my personal space was being invaded. So because it's a boarding school, we have rooms, duh. So there would be groups of girls who would come in the middle, like at night in the evenings, and would start mocking and taunting me. I would tell them to leave my room, they wouldn't leave. I felt intimidated. I told them that I was publicly humiliated and physically threatened. I remember specific examples when I would walk down the hallway or eat lunch, there would be continuous name-calling and taunting towards me. I actually remember this specific example when first thing in the morning, there was this head bully. So I just came out of my bathroom and sorry, it gets hard sometimes. She walked into my room and first thing in the morning, and she kind of towered over me, and she was less than a meter close to me. She was like this far from me, and she looked down upon me, and she was trying to physically threaten me in a way, and I was intimidated. I started shaking in that moment. And she told me that I basically couldn't do anything about what was going on because no teacher was going to support me, and I'd be crazy if I thought anything was going to change. Because in that period of time, nothing was changing. So I felt like I was going to be stuck in this loop of harassment. And for me, I felt a little helpless, but I continued reporting these incidences to the school. I continued pleading with teachers to take action because I did believe I had a deep connection with that school. But soon after, they kicked me out. They felt that I was becoming too much of a burden, and they thought that my continuous reporting of these incidences would damage their reputation. Because if I came out and I talked about my situation, so many other students would have come out and talk about their situation. And because they had a zero bullying tolerance policy, if they admit to any wrongdoing on my part, this would put them in an accusable position, since then they would admit that no staff or member had come and done anything during my months of harassment. So, in an attempt to silence me, kicked me out. I was double punished. During this period of time, not only was I really lonely, I had insomnia, anxiety, and panic attacks. I couldn't understand why they were being so indifferent to my situation. Like, I was pleading with them, I was asking them to take action. They didn't care. I thought, maybe I'm the bad guy here. Maybe they kicked me out because I kept going to them. Maybe I shouldn't have kept asking them for help. Because of my continuous reporting, they kicked me out. It got so bad that during this period of time, I gained several pounds because food became a comfort, and I guess it became too comforting. So soon after, I was kicked out, and I had to transfer to a new school. But it unfortunately didn't end there. Social media became my worst nightmare. Not only did the harassment lead me to lose everything I'd ever known or loved, But now it would follow me to the safest of places, my bed, through the use of my phone. So, yeah. So these are a few of the group chats, actual group chats that I took in order to make the people around me believe in my situation. So now the harassers, now turned cyber harassers, wanted to make sure that when I transferred to my new school, the new students would they wanted to make sure that I would be socially excluded from this new school as well. So they spread rumors and all sorts of really nasty things on group chats. And in fact, this is an all boys group chat in my new school that they were circulating not only really nasty rumors, but a really silly 13-year-old photo of mine, which you're going to see in a second. So, of course, they tried to pollute the minds of these students, and again, those are the photos. So, and again, it made life terrible in this new school as well. So, again, I would walk down hallways. Now it would not be people I know, it would be people I don't even know. They would start screaming really nasty names at me, the name of my old school, whatever they can think of, because now I became the person that they wanted to attack. I thought it would get better, but unfortunately, rumors and gossip stay imprinted in people's minds. It only really stopped when my family took legal action against the school due to my deteriorating mental state, and that's something that not all youth have the support to do.
So to think that this would not have happened if the theories that have been put in place to prevent bullying were implemented by teachers and students alike, and the students, meaning Generation Z, were given the correct incentives to do this. This is what our speech here is all about, how Generation Z can be motivated to adopt an active bystander attitude. So before we go further, just a little bit on StoptheB. So StoptheB actually started out with me and Riddhi posting different clips and stories on it, and slowly grew to have 25,000 followers. Of these followers, more than 75% are under the age of 24. That's about 19,000 young people, and yes, that's a lot of young people. We have a good variety of cultures here, mostly young men, as you can see. But strangely, or maybe not so strangely, they are the quieter ones, while the young women lead the way in sharing and talking about their experiences. Yes, who run the world?
Girls!
But on a serious note, this is also a stigma that our platform aims to change. We want more young boys to come out and realize that it's okay to feel vulnerable as a boy too. So to start off with, I'd like to share some very small clips of the very brave young people that have been brave enough to talk about the experiences just as my sister. But before we do that, I would like to point out some facts. It is well known in the academic world that due to the negative stigma and peer pressure attached to being bullied, such as being victim-shamed, not being taken seriously by your parents or teachers, or being further isolated from your peers, nobody wants to talk about being bullied, and quite rightly so if you look at it from their perspective. Nobody wants to look like the victim, because that is what they are currently portrayed as. They are victims of the circumstance, but they are also survivors who have survived that horrible circumstance. And if Generation Z is ever able to solve their bullying problem, then this is the first stigma that needs to be addressed. Nobody wants to talk about their issues if society looks down upon them and gives them titles such as victim. Perhaps we should create a hashtag I've been there movement that unifies us all.
And let me be the first to say, hashtag I've been there too. Who all is with me? They certainly are.
I'm 13 years old and I live in Belgium.
So hi guys, my name is Himanshu Tadse and I'm from India.
My name is Hocho and I am from Panama.
Hi, my name is Tanishka. I am 19. I'm from India.
Hi, I'm Liz and I want to share my story with you.
मैं एक बीमारी से सफ़र कर रहा हूँ, disease. It is known as vitiligo. On a body, white patches occurs. I was bullied by this thing at that childhood, and just called me with the animal's name, like animals got patches on their body, so I got patches on my face.
I was getting bullied because of my surname. My surname is D-I-C-K, so it's not fun to have that as a surname. I was getting bullied too because I'm gay, and it was not fun to get bullied just because of your personality.
Sufrí bullying, fui víctima de bullying por mi piel, por la vincha, por el vestuario que utilizo, por la forma que yo hablaba español. Yo no dominaba el español. Nos hacen bullying por nuestro acento, porque no hablamos bien el idioma español, porque no vestimos diferente, porque pensamos diferente y porque nuestra piel es de otro color.
I was a former badminton player and I was heavily bullied due to my skin tone. The bullying started when I was 9 and it lasted for about 5-6 years. And in that course of time, it took such a turn that it resulted in physical abuse. I survived a suicide attempt, but it took me 5 years to completely process the fact that this is what I have been through and this is what I have to rise from. And from hearing words such as Black Panther, burnt hockey stick, it is really not easy to establish yourself from zero.
I was targeted of bullying for 9 years at school, yes, which made me have a totally different life from the one I had thought of. Once your confidence is damaged, you tend to accept every bad opinion about yourself, and you make every criticism your problem.
Because if you want to be in the group, you must be like something. You must do this, you must do that, and it's not fun to just don't be who you are.
I tend to accept every single bad comment and every single you're ugly and you're not smart, and I continue accepting when I grew up.
Everyone feels that it's a thing they need to hide, but because people make fun of us, that's why.
Es duro contar esta realidad, pero no lo podemos esconder. Animo a todos aquellos a que se eduquen, a que no se dejen intimidar por ese tipo de ideas que al final no significa nada.
But one day I realized that I do care, that I want to defend myself, that I want to improve myself, and I want to be a better person, a better me, because that little kid deserves it.
Most people do not speak about bullying, and this particular energy is what the bullies feed on. I was heavily bullied for my skin tone, and here I am in front of you, telling you that you are not alone and you got this.
Go back. So if you go to our Instagram page, StoptheB, you can see all of the stories that these kids have shared with us. Shocking, right? So much has happened to these youth, yet it seems like in all of these cases, no action was taken. This is all too true for so many youth who experience bullying in school. We would like to point out, however, despite the fact that there is a stigma attached to this topic, more and more people come out and talk about it and cheer others on once they see others doing it too. So these are actually comments that were made under the Storytime posts you guys just saw. And look at them. So they're actual comments. They're totally empathetic and what I would have personally wanted when I was going through my own messed up time. So the fact that there is so much support from these young people and the whole unified atmosphere speaks for itself. It goes to show we are all empathetic. We just need the correct push from the people around us in order for us to discover and utilize this aspect. We can do this if we concentrate on pushing the correct platforms such as StoptheB.
So we also ran an active bystander challenge on a platform a few months ago. This challenge enticed people to stand up for or be an active bystander for a situation that they felt was unjust. This could be for a complete stranger or even a fellow classmate, and in return, this promoted empathy. So in the next clip I'm going to show you, this is actually one of the participants that won, and she went online and wrote back to hate comments from complete strangers. And of course, we had amazing rewards for this challenge that all participants are very happy to work towards and ultimately achieve. So let's reward the behavior we want repeated.
So in my case, when I was bullied, no one came forward or spoke out, even though they were seeing what was happening. So what does this tell us? That the systems in place are currently designed to document bullying and perhaps condemn it, but not reward good behavior. what's the other thing we know about my generation? We are reward-based. We like giveaways and points and being told we are really good people. Another well-known fact about my generation is what I like to call, and disclaimer, I am no scientist, the dopamine effect. Likes, comments, and follows are all reasons why my generation is so addicted to social media. I mean, who doesn't like to see that extra like or that extra follow? It makes you feel good, and feeling good makes you feel accepted. It's like the biggest comfort we can feel. It's like a big bowl of ice cream.
But unfortunately, instead of having more positive platforms and forums pop up, we are continuously being fed the wrong version of cool. Those that glare our human differences to our face, create a fake social hierarchy system, and propagate nerd culture. Take a look at these clips from some of the most watched TV and movie series of our industry, of our generation, sorry.
The idea that a girl in Model Ewing could get with a guy like Paxton Hall Yoshida, you're an inspiration to us.
Everyone at my school hates me, but you, everyone loves you. You're cool. You're having sex with Paxton Hall Yoshida.
Because Davey and her friends were an ethnically diverse group of academically focused, I can't think of a better word for dorks, the rest of the school called them the gently racist nickname, the UN.
We call you the UN because you're unfuckable nerds.
It's also body shaming when people say curvy is beautiful, because how's that supposed to make us size zeros feel?
Where you sit in the cafeteria is crucial because you got everybody there. You got your freshmen, ROTC guys, preps, JV jocks, Asian nerds, cool Asians, varsity jocks, unfriendly black hotties, girls who eat their feelings, girls who don't eat anything, desperate wannabes.
Oh my God, I love your skirt. Where did you get it? It was my mom's in the 80s. Vintage. So adorable. Thanks. That is the ugliest effing skirt I've ever seen.
Spotted, lonely boy. Can't believe the love of his life has returned. If only she knew who he was. But everyone knows Serena, and everyone is talking. Why'd she return? Send me all the deets. And who am I? That's one secret I'll never tell. The only one.
So these are images of actual gossip forums, and these debuted straight after the series Gossip Girl, that's the last show episode you just watched, was released. So gossip forums are like, they're basically private Instagram forums where people spread rumors about each other. So like, what's Samantha doing? What's she up to? Those are the kind of things that you do on a gossip forum. So they debuted straight after Gossip Girls. And I know these kind of shows can be really fun to watch, but I was addicted to Gossip Girls when I was just 12. But it's like junk food, and no one to tell you how much to take in.
So the directors of these clips may have had, the best intentions, but the portrayal of those that are unique or different is portrayed as almost being of a lower social status. I mean, why did Devi from Never Have I Ever, the first show that we watched in the clip that has 40 million viewers, have to bag the hottest guy in school just to be considered cool and not a nerd, which she was portrayed to be throughout the series, just because she was an academic high achiever and enjoyed attending prestigious events like MUN. Let's not overlook the fact that the entire academic year group was of a certain physical descript. That is, they were wearing glasses, braces, and were not the stereotypical cool look that directors want us to believe is cool.
And in the series Mean Girls, that's the middle episode you just watched, show, movie, whatever. So that's the middle movie you just watched. People were put into stereotypical lunchtime groups of either they're cool or they're not cool. But what if you don't belong to a group, which is totally fine. I don't belong to a group. Where do you sit? We're actually going to come back to that point in a second. So our next point is communication all around us. Entertainment, visuals, all speak differently to us, and we are at an impressionable age where we're still trying to find our cool. And that is being dictated to us in manners that should really be subjected to censorship. I mean, movies with violence in them are censored, but not movies that glare our human differences to our face and show us their stereotypical version of the cookie-cutter concept of cool. So whilst everyone tells us to be nice, there is no pack-led movement that actually encourages us or incentivizes us to do this for ourselves. Yes, there are a bunch of rules in schools which are not really being followed anyways, since there is no encouragement or motivation for us to do so. And it's simply not important enough. Everything else has a reward, like the subject TOK, which is the theories of knowledge. In fact, for this subject, we get a whole extra point dedicated to it for just writing an essay. And this goes towards college, which is a pretty good incentive for a high schooler, if you ask me. But not for, put simply, being a good Gen Z citizen. So, whilst we are taught the theories of knowledge and how it originated, is it not more important to talk about the current day situation and how we are reacting to those around us? We definitely believe we can reward and incentivize good behavior that encourages Gen Z to have and embrace values that propagate mutual acceptance and respect. We can do this if we concentrate in making rules in schools that reward good behavior, rather than making rules in schools that just go against bullying, which are not really being taken seriously anyways, since people are too busy thinking about the things that really count.
So let's make being good count. And how can we fix this? So here are some examples of what we can do that we believe would make an actual difference. These are just some of our ideas, and you can choose to implement them or not, and which ones to implement. But these are what we believe would actually make a difference to our situation. Number one, have empathy as a subject that's taught in school. We can have empathy as a subject choice in schools as part of or in place of subjects like TOK or CAS that students are awarded a whole extra bonus point for. Perhaps even instead of discussing about Shakespeare or another piece of literature in English class, the very important topic of empathy can be taught and discussed, as it's most important to helping us understand values that actually propagate respect and acceptance. For example, CAS stands for Creative Activity and Service, whereby empathy should be a really, really big part of service. And TOK stands for Theory of Knowledge. But what's the point in defining the historical roots of knowledge without making empathetic youngsters?
So I remember when I was younger and hadn't experienced bullying, I didn't understand the significance of words. In fact, there was this specific example when there was this boy from my class. He was being called some very nasty names, but very much sadly common amongst boys, such as faggot, weak, and worthless. However, I heard all this, I didn't react because I didn't understand the significance of the situation, and being a 9-year-old with no knowledge on empathy, I didn't know how to react. I mean, it's like telling someone to color in blue when they have no idea what the color blue is, which is why it's so important to have empathy as a subject so that kids can have the toolbox and tools in order for them to understand and react to these kind of situations.
So bonus points on children's college applications and a priority to candidates that have contributed to a social cause related to bullying or have a record in helping their peers or excel in empathy as a subject. So college applications are the highlight of everyone's high school career. It's what everyone is working towards in their final year. And that extra point can make all the difference to make students take this subject seriously.
So school prefect and monitors should have a clean record in terms of bullying. So a school prefect or monitor is just a student with power in their respective position. They were either elected by the school or students around them. But the bottom line is they have power. So I know they should have a clean record in terms of bullying, and I know this would have personally benefited me when the girl who made sure I was a social outcast for the first year of my new school was elected prefect. So To put it short, she was basically the best friend of the cyber harasser of my old school. Yes, bad luck. So once she was made prefect, she had the power to make basic activities like getting lunch really difficult, which she didn't hesitate to do.
So encouragement and subsidies or even advertising power can be given to students or young people that create music or movies based on themes of inclusion rather than exclusion, as we saw in the clips earlier on. This can be like the DEI for youth. In the same way, there are so many university students and high school students that want to get into music or movie industry, but just can't afford to do so. So encouragement and sponsorship should be given to those young talents that try to create songs based on inclusion and promote awareness on bullying.
Online portals that encourage youth to speak and share their experiences on bullying or encourage the correct positive behavior. So this can be created by a trustworthy group of students, kind of like a mental health app out there today. And if this is youth-led, rather than being teacher and school-led, there's more chance of other youth joining. So the Instagram forum you see on the screen above was actually created by an anonymous US high school boy at first who wanted to spread positivity about each of his classmates. So what he did was he commented only positive comments on each of his classmates, and this in turn created a global domino effect of other students wanting to spread the positivity. So I know that, they're on social media like Instagram and TikTok, there are these promotional buttons that you have to pay like a small amount of fee to get your Instagram forum to go forward. Maybe these social media companies can do this for free for the better good of the youth culture and promote these kind of platforms. And thereby changing youth mentality and culture to find and adopt a new sort of cool. And StoptheB is out there too, so go ahead and promote that. No, but all in all, we should really try and promote these so that those gossip forums we just saw earlier, those are not looked at as cool, and these are looked at as cool. So yeah.
So social media platforms should have an option of youth group chats that discourage them from being permanent. That is, these group chats are only active for a set period of time and automatically dissipate after that period of time has expired, and if confirmation by all participants is not received. So this basically makes them non-permanent and stops them from becoming future harassment forums. And thus, they are only used for the sole purpose they were invented to be used for in the first place.
So simple things such as a mention in a school assembly, school newsletter, or a small monetary reward for being an active bystander or engaging in a social cause. As we showed you with our hashtag Active Bystander Challenge, a small reward can go a long way in changing the values of our generation and making more empathetic values and having and adopting more active bystander mentality. I know for a fact that my 9-year-old self would have loved to receive a chocolate or a small little reward for being a good kid and for standing up for those around me.
Normalizing alone seating. We know this one might be slightly unconventional and controversial for many here, but think about it. Lunch hour for many high school students is like the most dreaded hour, because that's where most of the gossiping and rumors occur. Some high school students don't have a group to fit into, and so feel publicly shamed when having to sit alone, as the seating arrangements do not deem it as normal. Thus, having alone seating would actually normalize this choice and save children's self-respect. And this is a choice anyways children would have in the adult world when they grow up, and thus it would help them grow in a healthy environment.
And look at this boy over here. Some of you may have been like him and just wanted to eat your lunch alone and be into your airplane book or whatever he was reading. That's what we should normalize and kind of isolate the idea of having to be in that Mean Girls world where Mean Girls was the show we just watched, where people are put into lunchtime groups. We need to isolate that idea and normalize kids sitting alone if they want to. So yeah. So what do we love more than rewards? We love unity and days of celebration. Just as there is a gay pride parade and the rainbow flag can be identified with this community, this needs to happen for survivors of bullying too. There needs to be a common theme or ground for this community to connect on. Currently, there are anti-bullying parades and clubs, but they are not unified, and not many young people take part. We need to make it seem so cool that even the people who have never experienced bullying want to take part. A certain month, a certain symbol needs to be decided by different chapters of young people all around the world in different cities and countries who are in charge of making this occasion momentous and not just something that students look at in the classroom and want to get rid of. We should celebrate being survivors, but also our differences as a whole. And it should be cool to do so, because why isn't it?
So, in conclusion, we have so much research and data on bullying and what bullying is, the very definition and dynamics of bullying. But it's not enough to make Generation Z actually want to make a difference or want to make a change. It's talked about when schools host their so-called anti-bullying day workshop. But after workshop day ends, the talk stops and it all goes back to normal. It's not actually enough to make teachers do something about it and to think of it as anything that should be given any importance to within their already busy daily adult lives. And it's definitely not enough to make Generation Z actually want or desire to make a change. It's not really a subject, leave alone being a subject. It's way too low in the pecking order.
So to make bullying a real issue for Generation Z has to be impacted in a way that directly affects their performance and everyday life. The way that it has impacted these youth in Gen Z just in 2021. And the countless other deaths you all know especially too well. The change must come from Gen Z, as having an adult simply talk about it won't do much good either. And it must become a real topic. And those who have experienced bullying can't be looked at as victims. They are survivors. And these name-calling, exclusions, and weird gossip sites can't be looked at as cool anymore.
So, thank you, everyone. We are hoping that our speech here has given you all some greater insights as to what we are feeling as a generation and what we are seeing as the flaws in our current systems. As you are the academics, the scientists, the researchers, the adults in the room that have the power to enforce new systems and help Generation Z be the change that they want to see.
Thank you. And I just want to add that, I'm tired, and those who have been affected by bullying are tired, and, this conference has been great, but we need to make a change. And I want you guys to promise me that it's not just going to be another talk where we come in, talk about these issues, and then forget it. Sometimes I feel like I've become numb to my story because I've lived with this for 4 years, but this has happened for too long. We need more youth to come out and speak, but we need you guys to come together and do something about it. I don't know how many more people who will be affected by bullying might have to go through what I did, but I wouldn't wish it upon my worst enemy. So thank you again, and I hope you take into consideration what we have said, and we are very happy to take any questions you may have, but we are not academics, and we will answer to our best ability, but yeah, so.